All right, welcome to today's absolutely improvised monologue. The prompt is Atrocious by our good friend Karen Bowman. So when Elton's mom got the place on Washtenaw across in the guard pad, we were a little concerned. We all figured that Eldon and Kick, and maybe even me, would eventually end up in the joint. But it seemed like a cruel, cruel joke to get a place right across the street. At night, we could look out the window into the guard's nest. We thought that was ironical. So the first day we're there, we're walking down Washtenaw, heading down to Cape Town for a taco, and we see this old lady on the porch. And she's sitting there back and forth, rocking in a chair. Her hair was so white. I'd never seen anything that white before. And she was sucking on aspirin. She was just sucking on aspirin on her tongue. And you could tell she was sucking on aspirin because when we walked by, Eldon waves like, he's a nice new neighbor. Hey, how are you? The old woman yells, "Atrocious!" We're like, what? So we go on, we get our tacos, everything's fine. We're coming back, and I'm like, hey, doll, how are you? And she looks at me and she yells, "Atrocious!" Which is funny enough, but now you have to add that the wrinkles on her face just like ripples and the spit from the aspirin. We never figured out what her deal was, but sure enough, every time we walked by, someone would say something to her, maybe tip a hat, and the first thing out of her mouth would be, "Atrocious!" We never did find out what her deal was. Eventually, we never cared. She faded off into the mystery of the neighborhood until a couple months ago, we're sitting in this bar on Christiana, and Eldon asks for a beer. And a woman says, "I need your ID." He looked at me, he looked at her, he looked at Kick, he looked at her, and he said, "Atrocious."